How's it, pilots? Today we're going to talk about garbage parts. I've been noticing a lot more parts that's getting sent out to FPV pilots to build their drones that are complete garbage. This is the Impulse RC Reverb. Beautiful frame. It was co-designed with Chad, Final Glide. And a lot of work and thought was put into these frames. A lot of people were very excited about these frames. Now, it's been out for a few years, and I gotta tell you, this frame is great. But recently, Impulse RC has been sending out parts that are not machined correctly, and I'll show you how. See how everything's nice and level? If you guys have been following my YouTube channel, I've had a couple of random videos up there, and those videos was sent off to Impulse RC so I could show them what the heck is going on. If I take this frame and put minimal, pull on it, we're talking almost a half an inch of deflection. Now, it can happen to any one of these arms. Any one of them. So, your hover is never consistent. You're trying to, dive down a building, or, building dives, or doing Matty flips, or whatever, and you got a prop that's off. Yes, you should be able to maneuver it enough, fly it enough to get most of that out. But how appropriate is it to have something like that from a quality company that you pay a nice price for? I mean, so how do you fix it? Well, you do the same thing, barely any, and it's straight. I went back and forth for a while with Impulse RC about this, and they told me that my frame is broken. I was like, okay, where? Because I don't see a break. They said it was this plate, this lower, not the bottom plate, but not the top plate, but the mid plate. You know how you got the bottom plate, mid, and your top plate. I said it was the mid plate that it was broke. I was like, oh, okay. So I bought me a new plate. And they told me, when it was still doing it, they said, well, maybe it's the nuts that's holding it. I was like, okay, well, I'll buy some from you. They didn't have any in stock, so I had to go find some. So I found some American made, nice quality, stainless steel press nuts, the exact same dimensions of what they're selling at Impulse RC. Took the old ones out and put the new ones in. And let me tell you, that is a job. And not in doing that without damaging the holes. To give more excuses. So I did it. And they said, well, maybe it's the bottom plate. And I'm like, okay guys, we're not going to keep playing guessing games. They told me this plate was bad, that the holes were ovaled out. And then that's when the fun started, because I whipped out this tool right here, whipped out my calipers there, digital calipers, decent design, pretty damn accurate, and showed them that the holes weren't ovaled out. They said, well, it has to be. Maybe it's the arms. So they wanted pictures of all the arms. They wanted pictures of all the parts of the frame. They wanted pictures of everything. So I had to tear the whole quad apart. I tore this quad apart 4 times because they could never make up their mind of what picture they wanted. I would send them exactly what they wanted, and they wanted a different one. And so I would tear it back apart and give them that one. And then they wanted a different one, tear it back apart and give them that picture and put it back together. And 4 times. And in the process, I broke some wires, broke some, because you can only play with this stuff so many times before it fails. So I did the repairs. They finally had all their pictures. Everybody's happy. They took a bit of time to think about what was going on there. I could show them an accurate amount of what was happening. I could show them video of how it was occurring or what was causing it. So they sent me a new bottom plate and 4 new arms. And they blamed it on the chamfering of the arms. They said, well, maybe it's a chamfering. Because I'm deburring the edges. Like, I don't deburr the edge where they're supposed to meet here. I'm not doing that. I'm only doing this portion of the arm. I mean, you can see that in there. It's a perfect match. I bevel it off and feather it out to where anything that's under this plate is straight, just like it came from the factory. So they were like, well, it has to be it. I was like, okay. So I put it together without doing that, with all the brand new arms, brand new plate, brand new press nuts, brand new everything. And it had more deflection than what I originally showed them. So I took those parts and said, you know what, screw this noise, and threw them aside. I have enough parts between what I bought for extra parts, between doing repairs on it, and the parts that they sent me, that I have almost 2 quads worth. But I'm going to keep replacing parts. And then at some point, when I run out of parts to be able to fix what's going on, I'm going to take the leftover parts, as long as I have a full quad's worth, and it's going to become a piece on my wall, because I can't keep investing money in the inferior parts. The problem stems right here. Now I'm going to turn this light up so I might get a little bit of a bluish color. Main camera light keeps going out because it's noticing that it's all bright as all get out. But if I can get this in, you see that line that's in there? I just knocked it out of your view. Get a pointer. Well, the arms meet up right down here, right in the center there, amongst the shadowing. Sorry about that, guys, but here, let's see if I can turn it back on. Is that? Oh, yes. Right down there. You'll see that gap. That gap is the arms and how they meet. They left a gap in there, and that gap does this. When it's up against each other, it's really, really close. When it bends, it pulls apart, and it does this number. Instead of meeting that thing up against each other and allowing the bowls to hold it in that position where they can't move, they left a gap in there. Now, some people will say, well, that's to relieve some of the strength. Well, then it deflects and it pulls apart from each other, and then you can't hover. And then when you're building diving, the thing goes off course. You're slamming into the building, or you're doing whatever, because it's all timing, right? Now, most of it you can get out by just flying, and you can work some of that out, but you shouldn't have to. And it's sad that with all the effort that went into this frame and them releasing the apex, they've given up on this one. And somebody at the factory, either on property or off, I'm not sure who's cutting these anymore, needs to do a better job. And there needs to be some control factors in that. And I just wanted to bring it to your guys' attention. Watch out with the reverb, and with that, pay attention to the apex, Because who knows what's going on here. Why are they machining the parts wrong? That's all I gotta say. Now, with that, then they brought in these bolts. I said, well, you're using aluminum bolts. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Send them a picture of that. That is alloyed titanium. Now, if you guys ever need titanium bolts, I'm telling you, go to Allied Titanium. They make some strong titanium. We're talking grade A quality bolts here. These are way stronger than anything that Impulse RC says we need. These don't break. Why would I do that? Well, let's get one of these out. This is an American aluminum bolt. Has very little material there. But what makes it sad is most people can't get a hold of these. There's only so many factories making these in the US. So we go to China parts. China parts has half that amount of material. Where that silver is how much the head was stuck on there. China, it's half as much. I wish I had an example to show you. I did have it and it fell somewhere and I can't find it right now. But it's half as much. It's horrible. I'm like, these are garbage. Impulse RC can't keep up with their stock. Americans give out 5,000 series bolts. Chinese give out like 3,000 to 5,000 series aluminum bolts with half that amount of material. I'm like, oh my gosh. But when you go to Impulse, let's pull that out. You go to Impulse. Oops, this isn't. Yeah, it is. This is a. Watch this. I put this in there. Get that in focus. See how that fit? It just boop right in, right? But you have to be exactly straight with it. If you go in at an angle, it doesn't do anything. You got to get it straight in. It's a light colored purple, same color that they use on the Alien. This, I suspect, is about a 6,000. I believe they say it's a 7. But if it's a 7, it's a weak 7. There is more material than the Chinese bolt here. There is about the same as an American bolt, but it's a stronger bolt than the American one. Okay. But as you know, in the FPV world, we're slamming stuff at 100 miles an hour into concrete. This is a Chinese bolt. A little darker in color. As you can see, the anodizing wears away. And I can't fit the tool in there. I gotta wallow it in. Look at what it's done to the end of my tool. See where it's silver? That's from these bolts. The machining's so bad, the tool doesn't want to go in there right. So you gotta wallow it in to make it fit. And then the heads just break off. Everybody goes to these because they say the heads are stronger, but they're crap. So I went with a company called Pro Bolt. See that? Now watch what happens when I go at an angle. Whoop, right in. It just straightens out my tool, it goes in there. I don't have to do nothing. It just whoop, right in. There is no slop. The anodizing is perfect. It's harder, thicker, deeper. The amount of material is the most amount of material than any one of these bolts. Pro Bolt. This company makes some serious bolts. These bolts are rated for automotive and motorcycles, aircraft. They use them on the most high performance vehicles you could think of. And I put them on my quads. So, let me put this in there before I lose it. So I install these things. I install these on all my quads. If I'm using aluminum, This is what goes in place. Look at that. Perfect fit. I use them on my motors. I use them on the back end of the reverb. I use them on my GoPro mounts. I use them everywhere. Now, back here, right there, you'll see I got a titanium. That's from Allied Titanium. The reason I have that is when they switched to the reverb and got rid of the 2 bolts that used to be here and went with 1, it made that an extreme weak point. So now this bolt and this bolt runs the risk of popping heads off because there's no damn strength, and it allows the frame to bend and twist and crack. This top plate used to crack all the time. I've had more top plates break than anything until I went with titanium bolts to keep everything straight. Now I'm able to run Pro bolts up front, titanium in the middle, all the bolts in the back is the Impulse RC bolts because they're more than enough strong for that. But on the bottom, I'm running Pro bolts, Allied Titanium for the whole damn frame. So I'm extremely light. Now some people say, well, I only need 2 bolts. And you could do that until you bend your motor mount. I mean, when you bend the lower portion of that, then you find out that's dumb as heck. So do what you want. I don't have sponsorships. I can't just get motors and arms and body parts and VTXs and do all that stuff. I don't get them for free all the time. I've gotten a couple companies that have me do some reviews, but no, I don't get those on a regular basis. I'm not Mr. Steel or any of them big guys. But anyhow, titanium from Allied Titanium, Pro Bolt aluminum, and then your Impulse RC aluminum. Those are your strongest bolts. Pro Bolt is way better than Impulse RC, but nowhere near as good as the titanium bolts. After all that, Impulse RC had no other answers to what was going on, and they don't want to own up that they have bad machining going on in their factory with the machining process of these parts. Don't get Banggood bolts. Don't get some normal aluminum bolt from like Aerial Picks or any of those companies. They're garbage. I'm so sick of seeing these garbage parts, and to see everybody on Drone Nation complaining about how they're breaking stuff, and you can clearly see it was a bolt that let go that caused the break. So what's some of the other problems I have with the reverb? Well, there's been some complaints that hole and the hole that's underneath the motor are filled. Well, my argument to that is that right there is a break point. The only reason I break the arms right there on hard concrete impacts. Well, one time I broke one on a tree, but it broke right along this mount. This mount and that motor is the only reason why the arm doesn't break somewhere else. That is a weak spot from all get out, because what did they do? They thought, hey, it's a good idea to make it hollow. They fixed that. It's filled in. It's thinned out there, but there's a layer filling it in. People are complaining. Well, the only reason why that hole there, for instance, on the reverb, the only reason why that hole is there, well, was to release some weight. But they were still under an impression for some reason that somebody was going to run their wires through there and run it on the bottom side of the frame. Who the heck is running their wires on the bottom side of the frame so you can smack it up against the ground and wear them out? I don't know who does this, but that's dumb. That is a dumb design. That was my only problem with the design, because I break it right there all the time. But that had nothing to do with machining. It had nothing to do with it. That was a weight, and that was their executive decision to do that. When you strengthen this up, and this is sound and solid, you will find that that becomes the new weak point. And when that goes, the motor goes. But if you don't do that, what ends up happening is you bust out the top, the mid plate, and the bottom plate, and an arm, and your motor on the same impact. So change some bolts, get the real thing, spend some money, and you'll find out a lot less repairs, more time to fly, more time to have fun and enjoy the sport. Other things that I've noticed, these straps, people give them out like they're candy, but the problem is they're all junk. Luminaire makes by far the strongest straps I have ever used. They're padded, they're thick, but they're not heavy. They weigh about as much as all the other ones. A little bit of weight, but let me show you why. The weight, let's take this off. The weight stems from a whole bunch of rubber, padded stitching on the top, Kevlar straps, a full, thick, spongy type of Velcro, and a metal buckle. I break more straps right there with that plastic stuff. This doesn't add that much weight, guys. We're running freestyle quads. Don't worry about that. Get something that'll stop breaking. I've run my props up against it. Look at that. But guess what? It holds. It doesn't go anywhere. I've had these for months. Use the same ones over and over again. No problems. Luminaire Kevlar straps. That's where it's at. And then let's go farther into this. Impulse RC gives out a stupid little foam pad. I have one of them here. This. That's what they give out. And you're like, oh yeah, that's a cool design. Well, until you realize that it's garbage. And it's garbage. Okay, there we go. That's the way it's supposed to go. It's garbage for a couple different reasons. There is no protection from that bolt. That bolt right there will puncture your battery with this. If you put a full piece of foam on, it will puncture your battery with an impact. Grip. That's the way to go. It's a jelly, hardened, thick. You can cut it away, get access to your bolts. See? I'm going to show you the difference. Here you go. That right there. That's your difference. This is with a full foam bottom. So, if you want to run this stupid little thing, be sure to know you will destroy your batteries. If you run full foam, be sure to know you will impact your batteries. If you run Grip, see this battery? This is what caused that little bit of delamination going on that one plate. This is bent, flattened, punctured, well, just about fully punctured, crushed. But what do you notice? Not a single divot anywhere. Uma grip kept it from exploding my battery and catching my whole quad on fire. This, 20 miles an hour in the grass. This, full throttle into asphalt. When you do a building dive and things go wrong, Uma grip has your back. So, word to the wise, man. Like, here's another one. Look at, nothing. Here's another one. Crunch that thing. Boom. Nothing. This one and this one holds a charge. This one did not. Didn't explode. Nowhere near as much damage. But it held no more charge. I had 3 dead cells in this. Why it didn't explode, I have no idea. This one, every cell still had a charge. Every cell had a somewhat reasonable ohm strength. I killed this battery and put it to 0 volts because, well, I just don't trust that damage. This one works like there's no tomorrow. It works fine. That's a testament to R-Line Tattoo batteries. This is a 6-cell 1300 milliamp 120C version 3 Tattoo R-Line battery, and they keep working. So check them out sometime. These batteries, I know some people say some things about them, but when I can take the impact of what I'm doing and they keep on going, stop overcharging your batteries, guys, and just run them like they're supposed to. And they'll work just fine. So here's my tips. You want a good battery? Uma grip. You want a good battery? R-Line Tattoo. If you want to save your battery, Uma grip. If you want to save your quad, titanium from Allied titanium bolts, and Pro Bolt for your aluminum bolts. That'll save your quad. The deflection is half as much. It's still there, but it's about half as much. And my quad stays going. So, I don't know. I just thought I'd put this video out and tell you guys, oh yeah, and Luminaire battery straps. You can't beat them. These things are great. So, anyhow, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. No more of these standard American and Chinese bolts. Watch out with what's going on with Impulse RC. They're a trusted company. I love their company, love their product line, but something's happening with their reverb. That's no good. That's no good. I hope they straighten that out. But it's been months of the same thing. Several parts bought. And it's just getting worse. So there's some kind of tooling that's going on that's not right. So, anyhow. Oh, one other company I should give a shout out for. Innovative Layers. Innovative Layers. These guys, look at the quality of that print. I mean, I've never seen something. It's just like some cross stitching going on. It's like it's not laid in one direction. It's laid in several. This is like some truly 3D crazy printing that they do. I've never seen this from anyone. But you know what? All the impacts, and they all survive. I've yet to have to replace one of their products. So, Innovative Layers. I'll put a link in the description of all these companies. Innovative Layers, your Pro Bolt, and Allied Titanium. Give them a look through. Some of them may cost a bit more money, just a little bit. It's not much, but what you save in return and the performance that you gain is unreal. So, alright guys, happy flying, and let me know what you think. See yous.